Welcome to the Fermented Homestead. If you're new here, my name is Anna, and on this channel, I'm sharing our journey of learning how to turn our home into a homestead. Today, we're going to be making some onion powder, and I have this and another bag of onions, and this is a 10-pound? Yeah, this is a 10-pound bag of onions, and I am going to dehydrate these, and then we're going to grind them up and turn them into powder. I thought I would bring you along and kind of show you some of the tricks to getting this to dehydrate so it's not one giant mass inside of your jar. Before we get started, I want to go ahead and invite you to go ahead and hit the subscribe button down below and join us on our journey of doing all of these sorts of food preservation techniques. We do a lot of dehydrating, canning, fermenting, freezing, as well as the occasional garden and chicken videos. So if any of that stuff interests you, be sure to join and subscribe down below. Or not join, but join the channel and subscribe down below. And hit that like button if you do enjoy this video. It is a tremendous encouragement to me and I just really enjoy it. So let's go ahead and get started on dehydrating all these onions. So if you caught it in the past, I have already done a dehydrating onions video, but this way I'm doing it slightly different. In the past video, which I'll go ahead and link up here if you're interested in doing in that technique, that is kind of like a hot process sort of dehydration. And this one we're doing just raw onions, and I'm doing it this way because my husband prefers it this way. He says that it kind of, especially when you're doing the onion powder, it doesn't really matter how it reconstitutes, and he just, it retains a lot more of its kind of bite, its flavor, its onioniness. So he prefers it that I dehydrate it this way, and so that's what we're gonna do because he's the one who uses most of the onions, and it's easier for me anyways. So we're just gonna dice these up and put them on the dehydrator tray. That's about all there is to it, really. So now that we have the onions all peeled and ready to go, we're gonna go ahead and cut these up into the sizes that we want to put onto the dehydrator tray. So I'm kind of tempted to do the little round circles, but I think I'm gonna refrain because I don't think I'm gonna be able to fit as much on the tray doing it that way. So I think I'm just gonna cut them up, dice them up kind of old school style. A bit on the thicker side, but nothing super thick. Because I want it to take up less space on the dehydrator, but I also don't want it to take 5 years to dehydrate. Because if you don't par cook it, it usually does take longer to actually dehydrate. But according to my husband, it's worth it because it tastes better. So that's why he wants me to do it. Okay, so we are all done. We have what's that, 6 onions left from the 20 pounds. And we would be able to get through all of those. So we ended up using about 7 dehydrator sheets. I have one that's already being used for some garlic, and then I have another one that doesn't have the actual insert. It didn't come with it for whatever reason. And so basically what we're gonna do with this is we're gonna put it in the dehydrator at 135 degrees, and I'm expecting that it'll probably take about 24 hours, give or take. One of the sites that I was looking at said that it would take like 10 to 12 hours, but in my experience, that's totally not gonna happen. But I'll let you know. So I'll bring you back when we're ready for the next step. So we let our onions dehydrate for about 24 hours, and now we're ready to go ahead and take it to the next step. So what I like to do is I just take all of the onions, or whatever you're dehydrating, and I like to just kind of unload them into these, preferably big giant metal bowls, but whatever you can actually get them off of the trays into works great. Okay, so the next step that we're gonna take with this, we have it all taken out into here, and we're just gonna put it in a coffee grinder and grind it up. Okay. So then once we get it kind of ground, you know, to this a small powder, we're gonna take it onto we have just the regular dehydrator sheet, and it is covered with parchment paper that I just kind of cut to size. I'm gonna dump it back onto the hydrator here. And you can still, like, I let this dehydrate and it's totally, completely dry, like flaky. You can just break it dry and you can still feel some of the moisture inside of here. So if you watched my dehydrating garlic video, I did not take this extra step. I actually figured this one out afterwards. I gave it a try and it worked out really well for the next time that I made garlic powder. And that is just taking the powder and dehydrating it for a little bit longer, just to draw out any extra little bits of the moisture that could be in there. I don't know why I'm taking so much care to do that right now, but. All right, so we got these all ground up and they're on 3 different dehydrator sheet trays covered in the parchment paper. So I'm just gonna put these back onto the dehydrator for probably about 4 to 6 hours, something around there. And we're just gonna get it totally and completely crisp up and dried. And then I'll bring you back for the next step, which is pretty simple. Real quick, before I let you go, I wanted to show you the difference and the reason why I decided to go ahead and start doing the second dehydration of the actual powder. And the reason for that is this is the garlic that I did in the dehydrating garlic video not too long ago. And you can see it's a brick. Like you have no idea how difficult it is to get this out of here. It is so challenging. And compared to the next one that I did, which the only difference was really, number one, that I had sliced it up smaller and it had cooked a little bit longer, well, dehydrated a little bit less time because I remembered to actually cut them up. And then also the second dehydration, the second run on the dehydrator in the powder really got it totally dry. And you can see it's just, I didn't even put a silica pack in here, nothing. It's just literally just been on the shelf ever since. And this one, I did originally put a silica gel pack in here and it just didn't do anything with it at all. And it's just a total rock. So I wanted to show you kind of the importance of why I'm doing this. It's been about a day since we ground up the onions. And one thing that I failed to mention for you guys is about halfway through or so, I took the onion powder and I took it off of these trays, ran it through the grinder one more time, and put it back out on the trays again. So now you can kind of see, like, it kind of forms like a very easy to break up sort of powder. You can see it's got like flakes to it, and that's pretty normal. All it's going to take is a shake in the jar and it's going to pretty much go away. At least it should. Grab a lid and just give it a shake. Before you actually put it into the jars, you want to make sure that it's totally cooled off. You don't want to put hot, you don't want to close the jar on hot powder. If you put it in the jar when it's hot, it can draw moisture in there and it can mess with everything that you're trying to do with taking out the moisture. So So right here we have about 15 pounds of onions that are preserved in powdered form that you can use for cooking, and it'll just last for a very long time on your pantry shelf. One thing that you can do to kind of extend the life of it and to extend, to extend the life of it, you would want to do like a seal on it. Not a heat seal, but like one of those vacuum sealer type of seals, and just get the lid to stay on there. And then another way that you can make it so that it's a good quality for a long time is to put one of those like dry packs in here. And I'm gonna be doing that. But yeah, so that's all you do. It's really easy, it's really simple, and it is so worth it. I mean, can you imagine how much this would cost in the store? Like organic onion powder, homemade, no added ingredients to it whatsoever, no anti-caking agents in it, just well dehydrated, done properly onion powder, and it's amazing. And it's really flavorful. It's like, oh, it smells amazing. So I hope that you guys give this a try. If you do, please let me know in the comment section below. I would love to know your experiences with this, as well as kind of how you like to use it when you're cooking. So if you enjoyed this video, please do give it a thumbs up. Remember to subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. And we have lots of videos on dehydrating, canning, fermenting, and all sorts of cooking videos. So definitely stay tuned for that one, and we'll see you next time. Bye.